There are people who don't enter your life to love you, but to colonize you. In ancient Greece, we called this the abduction of Persephone. Today, we call it dark narcissism. Do you know how to identify the signs before it's too late? The uncomfortable truth. You think you are safe because you closed your door. But the most dangerous predators don't break into your house. They invite themselves into your soul. In the ancient world, we knew them as the harbingers of Hades. Today, they walk among you in expensive suits and charming smiles. You felt the chill in your spine when they entered the room, didn't you? That was your intuition screaming what your eyes refused to see. Today, we strip away the mask. We are going into the abyss of the dark triad through the lens of myth and psyche. If you have the courage to see the monster in the mirror of the other, stay. If not, run back to your illusions, but remember, what you ignore eventually consumes you. The mask of the perfect mirror, the Narcissus trap. The first sign of a dark personality is their uncanny ability to become exactly who you needed them to be. In modern clinical psychology, this is known as mirroring, but in the realm of mythology, it is the lethal seduction of Narcissus. A dark individual does not possess a solid, authentic core. They are a hollow vortex that steals your reflection to feed their own emptiness. When you first meet them, you feel an instant, almost divine connection. They like what you like, they hate what you hate, and they validate your deepest, most neglected wounds with surgical precision. But beware, this is not soulmating, it is psychic preying. They are mapping your vulnerabilities to use them as weapons later. The dark personality uses what we call the echo effect, named after the nymph who could only repeat others' words until you fall in love with a mirage. They study your social media, your past traumas, and your unspoken desires to create a psychological love bomb that effectively disables your critical thinking. Once you are hooked on the reflection, they begin to distort the image. Suddenly, the mirror that once showed you as a deity now reflects a broken, inadequate version of yourself. This is the first step of the descent into the underworld. You are no longer an equal, you are a resource to be consumed by an insatiable ego that cannot exist without a spectator to validate its false divinity. The silent coldness of the predator, the Medusa stare. The second sign is the profound disconnect between their charming words and the emotional temperature of their eyes. Dark personalities, especially those with high psychopathic traits, possess what is known as predatory whim. While they speak of love, commitment, or compassion, their eyes remain static, analytical, and terrifyingly cold. This is the Medusa effect, a gaze that petrifies the soul. Psychologically, these individuals lack effective empathy. They understand your emotions intellectually, a trait called cognitive empathy, only to manipulate them, but they do not feel the resonance of your pain. In the myth, anyone who looked directly at Medusa turned to stone. In reality, anyone who attempts to find warmth in the eyes of a dark personality finds themselves emotionally paralyzed. They observe you like a biologist observes an insect under a microscope. This coldness is often masked by charm, but in moments of stress, boredom, or when they think you aren't looking, the mask slips. You will catch a glimpse of a void behind the pupils, a total absence of human vibration. This is the sign of the shallow affect. They do not love, they acquire. They do not grieve, they replace. The danger lies in your human tendency to project your own compassion onto them. You think, they must be hurting, or they are just lonely. No, Max, they are hungry. And your empathy is the fuel that powers their cold engine of exploitation. Are you recognizing these traits in someone close to you? The chill you feel right now is Hecate's torch illuminating a truth you've tried to hide. Don't look away now. The architect of confusion, the labyrinth of gaslighting. The third sign is the systematic destruction of your reality through disorientation. Just as Daedalus created the labyrinth to hide the monstrous Minotaur, the dark personality creates a labyrinth of lies to hide their true malice. Gaslighting is their preferred tool of war. They will deny events that clearly happened, twist your words until they are unrecognizable, and project their own sinful behaviors onto you until you doubt your own sanity. Symbolically, you are Persephone, tricked into eating the pomegranate seeds that bind you to the darkness. They make you believe that you are the problem, that you are too sensitive, or that your memory is failing. This is a deliberate psychological assault designed to erode the ego. When a victim no longer trusts their own senses, they become completely dependent on the predator for a definition of reality. The Minotaur in the center of this labyrinth is their true self, a violent, primitive force that feeds on your confusion. The dark personality flourishes in the gray area of truth. They never give a straight answer. They communicate in ambiguities and half-truths, ensuring that you are always off balance. A person who truly values you will provide clarity. A person who wants to control you will always build a labyrinth. If you feel constantly confused in a relationship, you are not crazy. You are being hunted within the walls of a psychological maze designed to keep you from ever finding the exit. The chronic lack of remorse, the Titan's arrogance. The fourth sign is the absolute inability to feel genuine guilt or take responsibility for the harm they cause. In philosophy, this is the ultimate form of hybris, an arrogance so profound that the individual believes they are beyond the laws of gods and men. When confronted with their wrongdoings, the dark personality will never offer a sincere apology. Instead, they will play the victim. This is the Prometheus reversed archetype. They steal the fire, but instead of helping humanity, they burn everything down and blame the fire for being too hot. Psychologically, remorse requires a conscience, and a conscience requires the recognition of the other as a living being with rights. To the dark personality, you are an object, a tool, or a pawn. You do not apologize to a hammer when it breaks. You simply discard it. They will look at your tears with indifference, or, more disturbingly, with a sense of triumph. For them, your pain is proof of their power. They have broken something and therefore they own it. This sign is often visible in the non-apology apology, such as, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or "I only did it because you made me." This is the language of the tyrant. It is a refusal to submit to the moral order of the universe. If someone can hurt you repeatedly without a flinch of inner agony, they are not tough. They are psychically dead. They have traded their humanity for a cold, titanium shield of arrogance that no truth can pierce. The need for total subjugation, the Hades syndrome. The fifth sign is the obsession with total control and the deliberate isolation of the prey. Hades did not ask Persephone to go to the underworld. He abducted her and isolated her from her mother Demeter and the light of the living world. The dark personality works in the same way. They begin by subtly criticizing your friends, your family, and your career. They create a us against the world narrative to make you feel that they are the only ones who truly understand or love you. This is the cult leader dynamic applied to an individual relationship. Isolation is the only way they can maintain the illusion of their superiority. Once you are cut off from your support systems, you lose the external perspective necessary to recognize the abuse. Psychologically, this is known as captor bonding or Stockholm Syndrome. They become your entire universe, your God, your judge, and your executioner. They will micromanage your clothes, your finances, and even your thoughts. Symbolically, they are trying to turn you into a statue in their private gallery. They do not want a partner, they want a possession. The moment you attempt to reassert your independence, the dark personality will trigger a psychic crisis to pull you back in. They operate on the principle of divide and conquer. If your relationship feels like a prison with golden bars, it is because the king of the underworld has claimed you, and he has no intention of letting the light reach your soul again. Take a deep breath. This is the moment of choice. To know these signs is to hold the thread of Ariadne. Are you ready to follow it out of the maze? The pleasure. In discord, the Aresian chaos. The sixth sign is the deliberate creation of chaos and conflict to drain your energy. Eris, the goddess of strife, threw the golden apple to start a war for her own amusement. Similarly, dark personalities are chaos addicts. They cannot tolerate peace or stability because in the silence of peace, their own inner void becomes audible. They will start arguments over nothing, reignite old wounds, and pit people against each other through triangulation. Psychologically, this is a distraction technique. While you are exhausted trying to fix the problems they created, you don't have the energy to observe their malicious patterns. They feed on the adrenaline of the conflict. They feel alive when you are crying, begging, or screaming. This is pure psychic vampirism. By provoking you into an emotional reaction, they prove that they still have remote control over your nervous system. They will often project a calm, rational exterior while they push your buttons until you explode. Then they will point at your reaction as proof that you are the unstable one. This is the ultimate evil, to drive a sane person to the brink of madness and then judge them for falling. If your life has become a constant battlefield since this person entered it, understand that the war is the point. They are not looking for resolution, they are looking for consumption. The contempt for the sacred, the descent into nihilism. The seventh and final sign is the profound contempt for anything pure, vulnerable, or sacred. Dark personalities view kindness as weakness and sincerity as a target. Symbolically, they represent the destruction of the innocent archetype. They will mock your dreams, belittle your spirituality, and systematically defile the things you hold dear. This is the mark of the truly depraved soul, the desire to corrupt. They cannot ascend to the light, so they must drag the light down into the mud. Philosophically, this is radical nihilism, a belief in nothing but power and self-gratification. They operate on the dark triad of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. When you show them your soul, they look for the place where it is most fragile so they can snap it. They hate the divine child within you because they killed their own long ago. This contempt is often hidden under sarcasm or jokes, but the underlying message is always the same. Nothing is sacred, and neither are you. To encounter this sign is to encounter the true face of the abyss. It is the final warning from Hecate at the crossroads. Once you see this contempt, there is no more room for debate, no more room for helping them. There is only the necessity of the sacred flight. You must leave the underworld before you become part of the architecture of its darkness. The shadow integration. Hecate stands tall, her torch burning brighter, casting long, dancing shadows on the temple walls. Now you have the map. You have seen the 7 faces of the dark personality. But remember the final secret of the crossroads. The predator only finds a home where the shadow is unacknowledged. If you are attracted to the dark, it is because there is a part of you that is still afraid of your own light. You don't choose toxic partners, your shadow does. But today, the shadow has been named, and what is named can no longer rule you in secret. If this revelation hit you like a thunderbolt from Zeus, subscribe and join our circle of seekers. Look at our previous videos on Eros versus Thanatos, and you don't choose toxic partners, your shadow does, to understand how to shield your soul. Don't let the flame go out. Leave a like and share your story in the comments. Your words might be the thread that saves another Persephone from the dark. Next time, we will talk about the gods who protect us. But for tonight, keep your eyes open. The mask has fallen.